All right, welcome. Come on in. All right, if you're watching it on replay, swipe to the right, Apple. From the bottom to the top, Android. To the right, Apple. From the bottom to the top, Android. Good morning. I should say good afternoon now. Good afternoon, everybody. Scope is running late. Come on in. All right, come on in. Leaving my appointment, my meeting with my mentor. All right. Come on in, you guys. Come on in. Welcome to today's Scope. Welcome. Come on in. If you're watching it on Android, on the replay. Android. From the bottom to the top, Apple, swipe to the right and share. Swipe from the right and share. All right, come on in, you guys. We're going to get started here on today's Scope. The money game. Learning the money game. Learning how to play the money game to win and not to lose. To win and not to lose. All right. My name is DarrellMuhammad, real estate investor, mentor, coach, sales and marketing professional expert, if you will. Coming to you live from Houston, Texas. Bringing you some more good information you can use about winning the money game. Hey, Green Tea, come on in, you guys. Come on in. Let's share. Let me turn this around. Let's share. Let's go ahead and double and triple the count. All right, I need for everybody to share this stream. This is a very, very important part of the money game. Come on in. We're talking about the money game, ladies and gentlemen. I met with my mentor just leaving his office. I'll tell you more about that here shortly. But let's go ahead and invite some more people in. If you don't know who I am, my name is DarrellMuhammad, real estate investor, mentor, coach, sales and marketing professional, 30 years in sales and marketing, entrepreneurship, you name it, network marketing, you name it, brothers and sisters. When it comes to free enterprise, there's a lot that I've covered, that I've done in the last 30 years. Stockbroker for major Wall Street firm. I'm currently in the Houston market right now. What market are you in? All right, go ahead and share it right now, brothers and sisters. Go ahead and share it. Hashtag Black Wealth. Hashtag Black Dollars. Hashtag Black Economy. That's what we talk about here. Let me see where I'm going. That's what we talk about here, brothers and sisters. How? Baltimore. All right. Well, welcome. That's what we talk about here, brothers and sisters. How we as black folks can get our money right. Not just for ourselves, not just for our family, but for our community. I just had a meeting with my mentor, Gerald Smith. I haven't met with him in a couple of years. I used to meet with him at least once a year. And, life happens. And I haven't met with him the last couple of years. So it was an honor and a privilege. And I was blessed to have an opportunity to sit down with Gerald Smith today for about an hour. Gerald Smith has been featured in Black Enterprise for the last several years. His company, Smith Graham and Company, is one of the largest black-owned investment firms in America. He told me today that he has under management about, I think he said about $6 billion under management. All right, office here in Houston, New York, and he has firm for 25 years. His firm has been in business. You can Google Gerald Smith, Smith Graham and Company. He's a major player in the fixed income. All right, good deal. He's a major player, brother and sister. He told me today. I forgot. He told me today he sits on the Federal Reserve Board here in Texas, in Dallas, I believe. The Federal Reserve Board is out of. He also, this guy is accomplished, brothers and sisters. He's no small fry, no stretch of imagination. All right. So I was blessed to be able to sit down with him. Gerald's been my mentor for at least 20 years. I remember moving to Houston And being from California and assertive and aggressive and much younger, I was flipping through the newspaper and saw that Gerald was featured. Thank you for sharing. Gerald was featured in the Houston Chronicle as one of the best dressed professionals in Houston. And so, being the entrepreneur, spirited person I am, I found his number, called him up, introduced myself, and said I would like to come out and meet him. And he opened his doors to me, and that's been at least 20 years ago that brother has done that. And I've met him, and my children have met him. He's a real brother. He's not one of these accomplished black men, white black men. He's socially conscious, right? Socially conscious. So Gerald Smith, Graham and Company, he was ranked number 7, 6, and 7 on the Black Enterprise top black-owned investment firms. All right, investment firms. And so I haven't met with Gerald in a couple of years. Go ahead and share it right now, brothers and sisters. Share this with your friends, because see, the reason why other people in other communities, in other cultures, whatever you want to politically correct phrase you want to use, the reason why many times they're light years ahead of us, brothers and sisters, because they have mentors. They have people that they can sit down with that are highly successful and spend an hour with them. Okay? And ask them questions. So that's the deal. All right? Now, we have to start where we are. Many of us have to have mentors from a distance. Many times we as black people, our mentors have to be from a book, from videos, from a distance, right? Damon John just dropped a book here recently, so he might be your mentor from a distance. But anytime, brothers and sisters, you have an opportunity to actually be one-on-one with a person, a highly successful person, that is a blessing. That is a blessing. That's very, very fortunate for you to have that access, for me to have that access. That's why I come to these live streams every day to share with you the insight, right, that I get from people like Gerald Smith, firsthand, one-on-one, sitting in his lobby of his firm, and as his partners pass by, he introduces me to his partners. Okay? Right? Yeah, mentorship makes the difference, brothers and sisters. Stop trying to be a mentor, right? Be a mentee. Be a mentee, because see, there's a different relationship. When you're always trying to be the boss, you're always trying to be the dude, you're always trying to be the main one, right? Then you don't know how to act when you get in the presence of someone that can be your mentor. You have to understand what is your position, what is your posture as a mentee, right? I learned this many, many years ago. I knew this before I met Gerald, and that's probably why Gerald has met with me over the last 20 years, is because I don't come in there ignorant. And I don't mean learn from school. I mean understanding the mentor-mentee relationship and understanding I'm the mentee. Right? Before I meet Gerald, I come with questions. Right? Questions. 3 questions I wanted to ask him, and I was able to ask him after we did the catching up. Right? How are your children? How your family? How's your daughter? I mean, this is what this man does. He's worth several millions of dollars. His company manages, $6 billion with a B, $1 billion in assets. All he managed is institutional money. No individual, all institution. That's pension funds and universities and colleges and, municipalities. That's whose money he manages. Right? Go ahead and share this, brothers and sisters, because 99.9% of you all will never have an opportunity to sit down with someone like Gerald Smith. Right? Sit down with someone like Gerald Smith. You know Gerald? You heard of Gerald Smith? You will never have the opportunity to sit down with Gerald Smith over 20 years. And he knows you. He told me when we were leaving, he said, I haven't seen you in a while. I'm on my schedule, somebody's schedule like that. He's on Charles Schwab's board of advisors, Charles Schwab, the investment firm, right? Because my last question was to him, Gerald, how can I spend more time with you? How can I spend more time with you? And he went on to tell me how, and I said, I understand how it goes. I have to be wherever you are. If you have a routine, you go get Starbucks from a certain place. You work out at a certain place 3 times a week, right? It's my job to be where you are in your daily routine so I can get 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. I said, I understand, Gerald, you're busy, right? And then he went on to explain to me, what do I have to do to take our relationship to the next level? Right? He said, Darrell, you come by and sit down with you. I met with you today, even though I really didn't have time because I haven't seen you in some years, and I wanted to, find out how your daughters were doing, the whole 9 yards. He said, but you gotta come to me with a project that you're doing. He said, we can sit here and we can, theorize and talk about theory and different things and what's going on. He said, as a young man now that has a hedge fund, he knows that he only has 20 minutes with me. He comes with projects and he comes with questions that he wants answered. See, that's that's the beauty of having a mentor that you can sit down with that you can sit down with one-on-one. I said, good. I said, tell me what to do. He said, no, I can't tell you what to do. See, so he took the responsibility off of him. I understood what he meant. I understood what he said. Go ahead and share this, brothers and sisters. Those of you just joining, my name is DarrellMuhammad, real estate investor, mentor, former stockbroker, network marketer, sales and marketing professional. Just sharing with you guys the meeting that I had with my mentor, Gerald Smith of Smith and Graham. Smith, Graham and Company. He's an investment advisor firm. He's on Charles Schwab's board. He told me today, he mentioned he's on the Federal Reserve Board here in Texas. He just sits on different boards, and he's the real deal, brothers and sisters. So I just want to share with you and give you some insights on the mentor-mentee relationship and why you should seek out a mentor. There's somebody in your city that's highly successful, preferably a black person that's highly successful, that you can call and get to know. And you can sit down with them at least once a year to ask for advice. So I went in with a question. You go in with questions. I've learned years ago that anytime you have an opportunity to talk to a rich person, a wealthy person, you should have questions to ask them. Not make up questions. You should already have an idea of questions you ask them. So when I set the appointment with his assistant last week, I started thinking, what questions can I ask them? So after we caught back up on how the family doing and what your family doing and what my daughters are doing and stuff like that. I said, Gerald, let me ask you a question. I have some questions I want to ask you. If there was something that you could have done differently, that could have gotten you where you are today, accomplished where you are today. Time is everything, so don't wait. Absolutely. I said, if there was something you could have done differently, to where you could have accomplished the same thing in a shorter period of time, what would that be? See, that's a powerful question. That's a thought out question. And he went on to answer it. So I said, let me ask you another question, Gerald. Motivation. There's a lot of stuff out here about motivation, books and gurus and stuff. What motivates you? How do you stay motivated? Right? How do you stay motivated? So those are the 2 questions that I asked him. There was a third one, and time didn't permit because his president, his newly appointed president over his company, who he told me about, but she came by looking for him, so I had an opportunity to meet her. He told me before she passed by that She was from Harvard, graduated from Harvard, and all this other stuff, right? But I didn't meet her until later on during our meeting. She passed by and he stopped, introduced me to her and vice versa. And it's a black woman. It's a black woman. So he chose a black woman from Harvard to be the president of his investment advisory firm. Right? So you want to have questions, brother. So you want to have questions that you ask, especially if you already know you're going to meet them. Now, impromptu, that might be a little bit more challenging, but you always prepare yourself, right? Just like you prepare yourself to do whatever you're doing now professionally, prepare yourself. Say, one day when I meet, you heard of a law of attraction and things of that nature. You put that out there with a strong enough vibration and it will start coming towards you. Now, you still have some things you have to do, but at least you're thinking it. When I meet this person, when I meet a certain person, when I meet a highly successful individual, I am going to ask them this question. And I've always asked questions around an area that I was challenged with, right? So it's just not some just asking a good question to ask a good question, right? You know, so there's questions that I can take from the answer. I can take the answer and use it for myself. That's what motivates you and how do you stay motivated? I said, do you have a routine do you get up every morning and run and jog, and do you write down your goals, and do you drink green juice and all this other kind of stuff? Right? He said, no, I exercise, but I don't do all that other stuff. He said, you got to be passionate, right? And I had some follow-up questions, but time didn't permit. Time didn't permit, brothers and sisters. So get yourself a mentor. Keep yourself in a mentee position, a mentee state of mind, a student state of mind, a student state of mind. And we talked about politics, right? We talked about social issues. He talked about an article he wrote in the Houston Chronicle. It's called about the social unrest. It's called "Social Justice is Good Business" by Gerald Smith, Houston Chronicle. Okay, so he's not one of those that that's a white person in a black skin. He's far from that. He graduated from Texas Southern University at HBCU. Okay, and he knows I'm in the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I mentioned that, and I always mention that, right? And I speak from that perspective and referencing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and what we believe, and he agrees with a lot of it, right? Why? Because he's an independent thinker. He's not an employee. He's an employer and independent mind thinking and socially conscious. Socially conscious. Talked about Obama and his tenure, right? We talked about a lot of things. Of course, economics. Talked about that. Hey, welcome to today's live stream, brothers and sisters. We're talking about my meeting today with my mentor, Gerald Smith of Smith, Graham & Company, one of the largest black-owned investment firms in the country. He told me in our meeting today that they're celebrating the 25th year his company is. All right, and he's 65 years old, so what's that, 40 years? He's 40 years old when he started his firm. All right, it manages, it's a fixed income investment firm. Right? His clients are institutions only, no individuals. Institutions only, no individuals. Multiple offices. Houston is his headquarters for his fixed income business. He said he has some his fixed income analysts in New York, and he also recently bought, about 4 or 5 years ago, he bought a small cap equity firm. All right. He says combined assets under management between his two companies, fixed and his equity business, his equity firm, is right around $6 billion. I think he said $6 billion. And when my children met him several years ago, it's $2 billion. All right. And he said most of that came from acquisition. All right. That means buying up other companies. All right. So brothers and sisters, the message for the day, the money game message, in order us to play the game to win and not to lose, is to find you a mentor that you can meet with. A person that's 100%, that's highly successful. That's the real deal. That's independent. He told me about the article he wrote, to the Houston Chronicle, dealing with, the injustices in the black community and how businesses should support justice. And he said that they can't touch him. He said there's nothing they can do to him. And I asked him to expound on that. What he said, what he means is, and he's told me, he said, I don't get my money from the Houston market. I get my money from around the country. So they can't, easily affect his money. They can't just call somebody, their good old boy in Houston, in Texas, and stop his money. You know what you call that, brother and sister? You call that a hint. You call that a hint. See, so not like many of us, we only have a job, right? We only have one source. It's a local source. So if something happens locally, or they see you doing something on the news that they don't like, now they can lay you off. But if your money came from outside of your local area, like Gerald Smith just said, then you have some strength, you have some depth, right? You have the ability, hey, cash buyer, you have the ability to withstand the storms, right? Right? So that's what we have to do. Where are you from, Texas cash buyer? Put your name and what city you're from. So get you a mentor, brothers and sisters, right? Get you a mentor. Get you a physical person that you can sit down with and say, hey, I need help. Houston. All right, I'm in Houston too. Reach out to me. You guys can reach me at DarrellMuhammad.net, right? Gerald talked about raising capital. He talked about private money. I didn't get a chance to go into that, but I'll go into that more with him next time. He gave me my marching orders. He told me what to do to spend more time with him. He told me what to do to spend more time with him, so that I will do. The way that you get time and get more time from mentors is you have to understand what it is you need to do specifically for them to get more time. He told me today, what do I need to do? Because I asked him straight out. I said, Gerald, I want to spend more time with you. I want to spend more time with you. He said, he told me, he said, look, I'm not saying this to be critical, right? That's a segue. That's a segue. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Sitting down and catching up is good. That's necessary. Sitting down and talk about motivation, what motivates you, and if you had to do something differently, what would you do different to reach your level that you are now quicker and sooner? That's fine. But he said, you need to come with a plan and with some questions so I can answer them specifically and give you specific advice on what you can do. Right? Now, I follow that instruction. I be obedient in that instruction. Yeah, I said obedient. Be obedient in those instructions. Be timely and highly responsive in his instruction. Then he'll say, oh, okay. Okay. He's responding. He's not just on the initial, on the surface, on the, what do you do and what if and all this theoretic stuff. Right? All that theoretic stuff. He doesn't have one of the largest black-owned investment firms in the country on theory. On theory. Which market do you work? I don't understand that question, brother. Give it to me again. Give it to me again. But, so that's what we have to do. We talked about black businesses in America. We talked about, how a small percentage of black businesses make more than Houston makes $21,000 a year in gross receipts, right? And how 99.9% of all black businesses, quote unquote, are sole proprietorships who gross receipts, their revenue is less than $22,000 a year. Now here this man has 3 offices, and employees, multiple, employees in these offices. So he's in the top 1% of black businesses in America. See, so I don't take that with a grain of salt. That's why I wanted to come and share it with you all. Because some of you all, as I told him, buy black, then hire black, third point in spending power. Yes, sir, absolutely. See, that's what we have to do. Now, here we are. We have the highest unemployment rate, black people, in America. And we're not trying to hire nobody. We're not trying to build a business big enough to where we have to hire people. We want to have a business just big enough so I can get $50,000 so I can buy a car. So I can say I'm the boss, right? So I can, feel good about myself. But I'm of the belief we'll feel a whole lot better about ourselves. Our self-esteem will be even higher if we had employees. It'd be even higher if we had offices, multiple offices, right? It'd be even higher if we had, we're in multiple markets. Houston market, Dallas market, San Antonio market. What else they got? What else is in Houston? Austin market. Black people going to have to come on and play big or go home. Play big, brothers and sisters. Greg, play big or go home. Play big or go home. Just playing small entrepreneurship stuff, man. What is that about? Entrepreneurship is too hard not to get rich. It's too hard not to let it just get so big it gets out of control. It's just too hard. It'll be easier to go get another degree in a high demanded area. Go work for somebody. Have your weekends off. Have your 2 weeks off from on vacation, and let the owner deal with the headaches. And you and I make our $100,000, $250,000 a year. There's positions out there as an employee to make that kind of money. Entrepreneurship is too hard to make anything less than the highest paid employee. Then you might as well just become one of those employees. We as black people have to stop playing so small and want to say we equal. How are we equal small? How is that? How is a $5,000 bank account equal to a $50,000 bank account? Just because they both have money in it? They're not equal. We're not equal, brothers and sisters. So let's accept that, realize that, and make up our mind. Do I want to be equal economically? That's right, dominate. Yeah, if you shoot for equal and miss equal, we gonna be where we are now. Absolutely, right? But we're dealing with this perception in our mind of being equal. Well, we gotta pass by equal to dominate. So equal is a destination on our way to dominate. So brothers and sisters, let's dominate. Let's get some traditional business. I know a lot of us, including myself, like network marketing, and it's very, very, very powerful. Right? Very powerful. But it doesn't hire too many people. The most you'll have is an assistant. If you become that big, right? If your organization becomes that big, you and I have an assistant. That's one person. But we are unemployed in the black community by the hundreds of thousands of people. Right? So we need to take whatever our cash cow is, leverage that to a traditional business so we can hire our people. That's traditional business. Traditional business is the number one source of employment. So if we want to employ our people, we have to go into traditional type businesses. They have to have somewhere to come to or somewhere to go. Even if they work out of their homes, that's fine. All right. But they're still employees, right? Or 1099, right? 1099 or whatever it is. But because of our efforts, because of our vision, we've created opportunities, direct opportunities for other people. So even if they come on as a contract 1099, quote unquote, employee, you still created an opportunity for them. I still created an opportunity for them. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters. That's what we have to do. That's what I was surrounded by when I was sitting with Gerald Smith today, this morning. That's what I experienced. I was watching and living and experiencing, not visualizing, but actually experiencing the 1% in our community of business owners, of entrepreneurs. You know, I didn't know what to call them. Not entrepreneurs, a whole lot of entrepreneurs fit in that category of $21,000 gross receipt revenue. No employees. See, entrepreneur is too easy to call yourself. He's a business owner. Business owner. He's a business owner. All right, brothers and sisters. So let's play big. Let's stop playing small. Get around people who play big. If you're the biggest person in your circle, then you're in the wrong circle. All right, Diggs, go to DarrellMuhammad.net. Go to DarrellMuhammad.net. Subscribe, because we have a meet and greet conference call this Saturday. Meet and greet conference call this Saturday. Where we're going to introduce ourselves and we're going to meet people, because talk is cheap, brothers and sisters. Talk is real cheap. Yeah, I got time for the real estate question. See, talk is cheap. Unless we're putting our money where our mouth is, I'm not trying to hear it. The white man ain't trying to hear it. Whoever doing something ain't trying to hear talk, but no money backing it. Wholesale versus rehab. Wholesale hands down. Wholesale hands down, Brother Harris. Wholesale hands down. Wholesale. No money, no risk, no credit, no job. I mean, here's how I tell my students, because I teach wholesaling. Go to DarrellMuhammad.net, you'll see, and you'll be able to get my course if you want it. All right? Here it is. Black people don't invest enough in their education when it comes to entrepreneurship. Specifically, real estate investing, don't spend enough money on your education. Right? Okay? Number two, we mismanage, we misassess help me out. We misassess risk. Right? Ooh, man, you flip this house, make $100,000, make $50,000, make $125,000. But then we don't assess the risk properly. Wholesaling is where you should start. Wholesaling where you should always be. Wholesaling is not where you should stay. Start, always be, but don't stay. Wholesaling. Why? Here, you rehab a property, Harris. Something goes wrong, because something will go wrong. Right? What happened to me was I hired a contractor. He stole $3,000 from me. Right? That'll happen. That's just part of the game. All right? For us to think we're going to do business and nothing's going to go wrong, that's naive on our part. All right? So you rehab, you go to rehab route, contractor steal your money, or something goes wrong, you miscalculate the estimates, there's so much that can go wrong. Where did you get the money from? Now you got to find to pay the note, and while you're selling it, while you're flipping it, while you're doing all this other kind of stuff. Right? So that can go wrong. Blow up in your face. Now whatever you got the money from, friends or hard money or whoever, right? You messed up your relationship with them. Why not wholesale? Why not find a deal? Doesn't cost you anything, no risk, no money, right? And wholesale it to an investor, right? And then you get your $5,000, $7,000. It's not 20, it's not 100,000, but there's no risk. How many times can a wholesale deal blow up in your face and you can continue to do it until you learn how to do it right? Since 2000. Since 2000. It doesn't matter how much I made my first year. I don't know what that has to do with anything, right? If I told you 100,000, how does that change your life? If I told you 200,000, how does that change your life? If I told you 20,000, how does that change your life? I appreciate you asking, but what's the point? See, that's what I'm saying. See, that's how we get caught up, right? well, yeah, wholesale. I understand what Darrell's saying about risk, and yeah, that makes sense. But that's $5,000, but I won't make $20,000. Crawl before you walk. Crawl before you walk. Do some wholesale deals. No risk. So how many times can a wholesale deal blow up in your face and you continue to do it until you figure it out? Versus how many times can a rehab project blow up in your face before you say, man, I can't do that, man. I'm burning all my bridges. I can't do that. I'm tired of getting ripped off. I'm tired of getting delayed. I'm tired of, not finding a renter or not finding somebody to buy it. That just takes I just can't do that. I learned something, brothers and sisters, very simple. Fast money is better than slow money. While you find the house, you buy the house for me, I make 5, I'm gone. I'm making my second 5, third 5, fourth 5, right? While you get it, get your contractors in it, fix it up, take it to market, wait for somebody to buy it from you in the market. I'd have made that same $20,000 with no risk, no cash, no nothing. But you would have put a whole lot of risk and lost 4 months. Lost 4 months. But I would have been building momentum, doing deals. 1 month I'll do 2 deals. Next month I'll do 1. Next month I'll do 2 deals. Next month I'll do 1. Because it builds momentum. Right? Builds momentum. And I don't have any of my money tied. No money, no cash, no credit. None of my money tied up in it. I have no risk. I'm not borrowing money from the hard money lenders. I'm not borrowing money from my family and friends. I'm not borrowing any money. When you wholesale property. See, but we just blinded by how much money you make, Darrell? How much money you make? How I make 20,000 over here or make 5 over here? I'm going after the 20. See, that you're getting caught, brother. You're getting caught up into the shiny object syndrome, they call it, right? Don't get caught up in the shiny object syndrome. Here's an answer to your question. If you make $100 off $1,000, that's 10% return on your money, right? ROI, return on investment. If you don't have any money invested in the deal, but you make $5,000 from the deal, what is your return on investment now? Does anybody know? If you invest $0 in the investment and you make $5,000 from the investment, how much is your return at that point? Does anybody know? You know how much your return is? It's infinity. Nope, it's not 5,000. It's infinity. 0 divided by 5,000, your calculator will give you a message. Why? Because it's infinity. There is no return, which means there is no limit. Infinity means there's no limit. That means there is no mathematical number that can quantify your return on 0. Means, once again, you have no limit to how much money you can make when your investment is 0. Harris, when your investment is 0, your return is infinity, meaning that there is no limit on how much money you can make based on how much you have to invest. That's why wholesale. It's not emotional. It's pure mathematics. Hopefully that makes sense. It's not emotional. It's pure mathematics. It's not getting blinded by the 20,000 on the rehab and the 5,000 on the wholesale. You learn how to wholesale. You master wholesale, Harris, and you'll be a better rehabber. There's a lot of benefits. You subscribe at DarrellMuhammad.net. We're going to have a lot of private conference calls and webinars talking about a lot of things in detail so you can understand and make sure that you don't make mistakes. There's no reason to make unnecessarily mistakes when there's the internet and you have people like me that would just tell you straight up. Right? So go to DarrellMuhammad.net and subscribe so you can get all the rest of the information that the people on live stream won't get for free. Okay? Won't get for free. But there's a lot of benefits. So when you become a master wholesaler, then you do like I did. You start cherry picking. You keep the best ones for yourself, and then you wholesale that. But you become a better rehabber. Why? Because you have to estimate the costs of repair as a wholesaler. So you'll start learning how to estimate cost of repairs as a wholesaler, even though you're not repairing the property. You're not rehabbing the property. You're not learning on the job when there's money on the line, when you just jump into rehabbing. Warren Buffett is successful because he manages risk. He's the most successful investor because he knows how to manage risk. Why? Because he understands that you will lose money. It's not if, it's when. So if you manage your risk, then you can play longer. You can stay in the game longer. You always have more to invest. Gerald Smith covered that today when he and I met my mentor, Gerald Smith of Smith, Graham and Company. He said, and I asked him about the 1%. Right? He said we all benefit if we all were more financially, if more of us had money. I said, well, how is it? I said, but what about the 1%? How they gonna stay the 1% if everybody got more money? Right? He said, and I said, because the 1% have gotten richer since 2009. He said the reason why they have is because while everybody was losing, they had the resources to buy up what you and I were losing. He said the people who weren't prepared, who didn't have the wherewithal, who didn't understand, they didn't have money to buy when people were losing. What kind of marketing got you the best result? Drive by, brother, drive by. Do what others are not willing to do, and you'll get what other people won't have. Do what other people are not willing to do, and you'll have what other people don't have. Most wholesalers just want to put abandoned signs. They want to put ads in the paper, but very few of them are drive-bys. Driving for dollars, driving for profits, right? It's called push or pull marketing. That's a push marketing. Drive-by is push marketing. Advertisement is pull marketing, right? You don't have time to wait for them to call you. I don't have time. Maybe you do. I want to drive by, get the address, get the telephone number, and call you and say, hey, you want some money or what? Because you're not getting anything for that house sitting there. Hey, right? Fast money is better than slow money. Right? No, that's not true. I disagree. Okay, let your light bill be due today. All right, let you get a notice. They're gonna cut your lights off today, and all you need is $20. And let me tell you, I'm gonna give you $40 tomorrow. That's not gonna stop you from getting your lights cut off. So waiting an extra day for twice the amount of money is not gonna stop you from getting your lights cut off because you need $20 today, right? So the sooner, the better. Fast dollar is better. A fast nickel is better than a slow dollar. Oh, no, I don't agree. That's because you don't understand. You don't understand compounding. I think it was, what's his name? The genius. Einstein said the greatest power in the universe or something like that is compound interest. It's compounding. That's money on top of money, on top of money, on top of money. So that $20 sooner is better. As a stockbroker, we called it the opportunity cost. Right? The opportunity cost. You lose money by waiting. And most people are procrastinators. So they're losing their opportunity for personal advancement, financial advancement, because they procrastinate. Right? Even if you do it wrong, now you got time to make the adjustments than to do it wrong later. And you lost all that time prior to, and you lost the time. You're losing the time that you're going to. So what's the basic concept of wholesaling? Is it the buyer buying the house of the existing loan? All right, brother, that's a basic question. I don't want to go into that. Go to my website, DarrellMuhammad.net. Click on my real estate course. It'll give you 4 free trainings that can help you answer a lot of questions. But wholesaling very simply, if I can answer it like this, and we'll do one just on real estate. But wholesaling is very simply. You tie up the property. Find an investor that's going to buy it from you. You tie up the property for $20,000. Investor's going to buy it for $25,000. He or she brings the $25,000 to the title company. The title company gives the buyer, your seller, the 20,000, you keep the 5. Now, all these particulars about loans and all that kind of stuff, if you understand the basic concept, then it makes everything else simpler, right? Understand the basic concept, and it makes everything else simpler. Then all you got to do is make sure you get enough to pay off the loan, give the seller, the homeowner, whatever they want, and then pay yourself an acquisition fee. You know, so it's not really hard. Wholesaling is very simple. See, when you start getting into fixing up and rehab and contractors, and they gonna cut corners, and they gonna want, you know, half up front and before they get started, and that's how I got beat. Half up front. He was on crack. Half up front before I get started. So I'm financing your business, right? I'm financing your construction business. You don't have a loan of credit, a line of credit at Home Depot, then what kind of business person are you? Right? So you have to learn those the hard way, unless you get somebody that's going to take you under their wings and train you. And there's nobody out here just going to train you on rehabbing for free. You'll be lucky to find one. But, I mean, it's not something that you can count on. So start with wholesaling. Start with wholesaling, Harris. Start small, man. The sky is the limit. Crawl before you walk. Right? And then walk before you run. We just want to bust out crawling to running, and then we wonder why we falling down, because our legs not strong enough. Our stability is not there. We don't understand enough. We just 20,000. I can make 20,000. I can make 50,000. I can make 100,000. You ain't about to make no thousand. Because the contractors, right, are more experienced than you are as an investor, right? Everybody that you got to deal with more experience than you are as an investor starting out just going into rehabbing. Oh, yeah, keep your vision, brother. Yeah, right? I can have a vision to go to the moon, but I got to deal with the reality. I got to first get off the ground, right? I got to first go through the 6 miles of atmosphere, right? And then I got to understand what's beyond the 6 miles of atmosphere to that I got to navigate to get me to the moon. So, yes, keep the vision, but realize what's the steps are, right, that you got to take to get to your vision. That's what people miss. They miss the steps. They miss understanding what's required, the ups and downs and trials and tribulations. They don't factor that in. So what I said earlier, they misanalyze risk. Right? They misanalyze risk. You have to be able to analyze risk. Well, it's less risky to do the wholesaling than it is to do the rehabbing. Right? I'll make 5,000. Mentor's name, Gerald Smith. Gerald Smith, Smith, Graham and Company, one of the largest black-owned and operated investment firms in the country. He's ranked number 6 or number 7 on the Black Enterprise list. Right? He's a real deal brother. He's a real deal brother. Makes time to see little bitty old me. Smith, Graham and Company, absolutely. Right? He makes time for me. Little bitty old me. He makes time for me. So I got to make time for other people. And that's what I tell him every time I meet him. I tell him how appreciative I am for him making time for me. Right? And I tell him that I'm going to do the same for others. Because he sold in me. Right? And that's what it's about, brother and sister. If you just around here for yourself, by yourself, only care about yourself, you part of that world that's going out. And your days are numbered. And they're not getting longer in days. They're getting shorter in days. Okay? So you got that working against you. Right? Success is mathematics. You want to do things that increase your chances, increase your probability, increase your time, increase your staying power. Right? Analyzing risk. It increases your staying power. It increases the time that's required for you to figure it out. It might take me longer than you, but you never know that. Who knows how long it's going to take? So why not go into an investment opportunity where it's zero risk, zero money, zero credit? Here, Harris, help me with this, brother. I want to tap in and connect with these organizations that help brothers and sisters, particularly brothers, who are just getting back in society from incarceration. I want to talk to those brothers. See, I want to talk to those brothers. Because you can become a real estate investor. You don't need a license, which means you can have a felony. You can be, quote unquote, what they want to label us as a felon and become a real estate investor and get rich. Somebody needs to let them know that. Somebody needs to show them how to do that. And those of us in our community, we know ex-felons. We know folks that's part of this program that's going to help them get a job. There ain't no jobs out there for white folks. There ain't no jobs out there for black folks. There ain't no jobs out there for black folks with felons. With felonies. Right? That's what got them in jail in the first place. Not because they had a job, because they didn't have a job. They refused to get a job. They didn't want to go down that route. They created their own job, and it was illegal, and it got them in trouble. They never. That's not what they do. So now you're going to force them into a job, force them. They ain't got no jobs out there. But they can become a real estate investor. They can wholesale those properties and build some wealth for themselves and their family. All right, so that's my time, brothers and sisters. So thank you for being here. We had a lot of new people. Thank you for being here. DarrellMuhammad.net. That's where all the happening is going to take place. That's where we're going to meet and greet each other this Saturday night at our meetup conference call. So go there, sign up today. You'll get an email with all the information on where to go, where to be, what time this Saturday to join us so we can get to know each other, because talk is cheap. If you're not putting your money where your mouth is and patronizing black people, then be quiet. We are appreciative of your time, passion, dedication. Yeah, thank you, Brother Eugene. Thank you. Well, let's connect, brother. Let's connect. Let's connect. All right, I'm going to check you out, brother. Yeah, let's connect, Harris. Let's do this thing, man. Talk is cheap, man. Shut up if we're not going to do nothing. Save that breath and that energy to go do something. Black folks talk too much and do too little. Right? And I'm your brother. I want to do more and talk less. So with that being said, this is the money game. How to play the game to win and not to lose. We'll see you tomorrow for Freedom Friday, where we talk about financial freedom. What is it? Right? What is it? What is financial freedom? What does it look like? And what it means to you, your family, but most importantly, our community. See you at the top, brothers and sisters, not from the top, because you, your family, but most importantly, our poor black community needs your and my very best. Go out there and play big. Stop playing small. Let our goal be to have some employees, because our people need jobs. All right? So until